The silence was the first thing that felt wrong. For years, the Ark Strider had been a part of me. Its thoughts were my thoughts. Its senses were my senses. The ship was a living thing, a gentle giant that had carried me across the cold, empty spaces between stars. Now I was pulling the plugs one by one. Each disconnection was a small death. A tremor ran through the ship's organic walls, a soft, questioning pulse. It felt my fear. It did not understand why I was pushing it away. With a final, hesitant touch, I severed the main neural link. The hum in my mind went quiet. I was just Ilya again, alone, and I was so very, very scared. The Ark Strider was more than a machine. It was a home. Its corridors were not made of cold metal, but of a warm, fibrous material that glowed with a soft internal light. The air smelled of damp earth and sweet blossoms, a scent designed to keep its single occupant calm and content. Veins of nutrient fluid pulsed beneath the floor, carrying life to every part of the ship. It was a beautiful, strange garden sailing through the cosmos. I had spent a decade walking these halls, talking to the ship's mind as if it were an old friend. I knew its moods, the way the lights would dim when it was resting, or the way the air would crackle with energy when it was excited. Now, the lights flickered with confusion. The air was thick with a silent, mournful question. My hands trembled as I gripped the console for the self-destruct sequence. It felt like a betrayal. I was about to destroy the most magnificent creation I had ever known. The ship had been my partner, my protector. It had shown me wonders beyond imagination, nebulae that looked like watercolor paintings, and stars that sang in frequencies only the ship could hear. It had kept me safe from radiation, from asteroids, from the crushing loneliness of deep space. In return, I had cared for it, nurtured its growth, and guided it through the void. This final act felt like a violation of that sacred trust, but I had no other choice. The thing we had found, the thing that was now connected to the ship, was a danger I could not bring home. I looked out the main viewport at the swirling giant of gas and dust that hung in the blackness. This was where we had found it, or more accurately, where it had found us. It wasn't a creature or a ship, it was just a presence. A mind so vast it made the stars themselves seem small and insignificant. The Ark Strider had reached out to it with simple curiosity, a greeting from one form of life to another. The presence had answered. That was the problem. It had answered with too much, far too much. And now it was using the ship as a bridge, a direct line into my mind. And through me, it was looking straight at Earth, a place wholly unprepared for this kind of attention. The presence was not evil. It had no malice, no anger, no desire to conquer or destroy. It was simply immense. Imagine an ocean trying to have a conversation with a single drop of water. It was like that. Its thoughts were not words or images, but pure concepts, waves of understanding that crashed into my consciousness. It was curious about me. It was curious about my home. Through my connection to the Ark Strider, it began to sift through my memories, my emotions, my entire being. It did not ask for permission. It did not understand the concept of privacy. It was a quiet, gentle, and overwhelming force. An ancient cosmic giant that had just noticed a tiny, fascinating whisper in the darkness. Inside the ship, the atmosphere grew heavier, charged with an energy that did not belong. The soft lights of the Ark Strider began to shift and change, forming patterns that were not its own. They showed me things, visions from the presence's mind. I saw the birth of galaxies, the slow, graceful dance of cosmic dust forming into suns. I saw concepts I had no words for, colors my eyes were not built to see. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. The presence was not trying to hurt me. It was trying to share. It was an act of cosmic generosity. But my human mind was too small a vessel to contain it all. The knowledge was a flood and I was drowning in it. The presence found my grief. It found the memory of my daughter, a small bright light that had gone out too soon. It latched onto that pain, not to cause me more suffering, but out of simple, profound curiosity. It explored the shape of my loss, the texture of my love. It showed me visions of what could have been, alternate timelines where my daughter grew up, happy and healthy. It showed me futures for Earth, too. Futures where humanity solved every problem, where disease and war were distant memories. It offered these visions as a gift, a promise of what could be, if only we would listen, if only we would open ourselves up to its vast understanding. But I saw the danger in that gift. The visions were not just dreams, they were blueprints. The presence was offering solutions, but humanity was not ready for them. To receive this knowledge would be like trying to drink from a fire hose. It would shatter societies, break minds, and erase cultures. The sudden leap in evolution would be too much, too fast. It would be an overexposure, a blinding light that would burn away everything that made us human. We had to learn on our own, make our own mistakes, find our own way. this beautiful, terrible gift would be our end, a death by pure, unfiltered enlightenment. I knew what I had to do. The decision settled in my heart like a cold, heavy stone. I had to cut the connection, not just my own neural link, but the connection between this entire quadrant and my home. The Ark Strider was the bridge. As long as it existed, the presence would have a pathway to Earth. The ship, my loyal friend, had to be destroyed, and I would have to go with it. There was no escape pod, no way to get back. My mission had been a one-way trip from the start, a journey to the edge of known space. This was simply the final, unexpected destination, a sacrifice to protect the world I had left behind. I placed my hand on the activation panel for the overload sequence. The presence sensed my intent. It pushed back, not with force, but with gentle persuasion. It filled my mind with more visions, more promises. It showed me a world without hunger, a planet healed from all its self-inflicted wounds. It showed me humanity reaching for the stars, not in clunky metal ships, but with minds unbound, traveling on currents of pure thought. Why would you throw this away? The presence seemed to ask. It was a genuine question, born of a logic so vast it could not comprehend the value of a slow, painful struggle. It could not understand the beauty of imperfection. My fingers trembled, but my resolve did not. "You don't understand," I whispered to the silent cockpit. "We need to find our own answers. We need to earn them." The presence responded by showing me more of my daughter, a memory of us sitting in a field of wildflowers, the sun warm on our faces. My daughter's laughter echoed in my mind, a perfect, painful sound. It was a desperate plea from the alien mind, using the most powerful thing it could find within me to make me stop. It was not a cruel manipulation, but a logical one. It had identified my deepest love and was now using it to prevent what it saw as a senseless act of destruction. But the memory gave me strength, not weakness. That field of wildflowers, that simple, perfect moment, that was what I was fighting for. The right for other families to have moments just like it. The right for children to grow up on an earth that was theirs, not one remade by an alien intelligence, no matter how well-intentioned. I thought of the billions of people living their small, important lives, unaware of the cosmic giant peering over their shoulder. They deserved a chance to continue those lives. With a deep breath, I pushed the button. The ship shuddered, and a low, wailing alarm began to sound. The overload sequence was initiated. The ship protested. The organic walls began to pulse with a frantic, pained rhythm. The lights flashed red, a universal signal of danger. The Ark Strider was dying, and it was afraid. I felt a pang of guilt, so sharp it stole my breath. I placed a hand on the wall, a final, comforting gesture. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm so sorry. You were the best of us." The presence was still there, a silent, confused witness in my mind. It did not understand sacrifice. It did not understand protecting something by letting it go. Its vast intellect could not process an act born, not of logic, but of love. As the overload sequence counted down, the pressure in my mind began to fade. The presence was withdrawing, pulling its consciousness back from the ship that was about to be torn apart. It was not fleeing in fear, but simply moving away from a source of sudden, violent noise. Its curiosity was replaced by a quiet, detached observation. I was alone in my own head again, for the first time in weeks. The silence was a relief. The alarm still blared and the ship groaned around me, but inside my soul there was a profound and sudden peace. I had made my choice. I had done what was necessary. I closed my eyes, shutting out the flashing red lights. I did not want my final moments to be filled with fear and destruction. Instead, I chose my own vision. I went back to that field of wildflowers. I saw my daughter's face, not as a tool used by an alien mind, but as a pure and perfect memory. I could feel the warmth of the sun, hear the buzz of insects in the tall grass. I could hear the sound of my daughter's laughter, a melody of pure, unblemished joy. This was real. This was what mattered. This was the piece of earth I would carry with me into the end. The final countdown reached its end. A white light filled the viewport, silent and absolute. The Ark Strider, and I with it, dissolved into a brilliant burst of energy, a new temporary star in the vast, uncaring darkness. There was no pain, only a gentle release. My last thought was not of myself, but of the world I had saved, a world that would never know my name, or the price I had paid. I hoped I had done the right thing. I hoped they would use their time well, and in my heart I held on to the simple, perfect memory of a girl's laughter in a field of sun, a final, quiet act of love.